You ruined my thunder, right? What the hell's a 4.25? You say? Great, I'm speaking on that next. But first and foremost, thanks for inviting me. How many of you guys in here run the 4.25? Just to get some history. Okay, a couple of you guys. Are some of you guys looking to go to it, maybe? Okay. The biggest thing I'll tell you about the 4.25, if you want to learn more, you're always just welcome to come to myself or give me a call and I'll come to your school and install the whole thing. I've been running this little history of how I learned 4.25. I was a young GA back in 2000 in Western Michigan. And we hired Gary Patterson, who was the head coach at TCU, but he was a D coordinator at the time. He came in and basically installed the whole defense. I was just a young sponge at the time. I was the guy running the video camera back there, taping them. But basically he came there for the whole week and installed the whole defense to us. After that year, they were a split eagle team before, Western was, and they put in the 4.25, and it just kind of, it was new to people, and we kind of did really good. So we won the MAC West Championship and got in the MAC Championship game with Byron Leftwich. And after that GA-ship, then after learning it was like a new up-and-coming defense. So in Port State down in Kansas, they're looking for a D coordinator. Jerry Killett just left to go to Southern Illinois. Their offense coordinator Dave Weimer stayed there, and they were basically just getting into the 4.25. They just learned the year before he left. So Tracy Clays, who's a Gophers head coach, was the D coordinator. So when he left, they were looking for a 4.25 guy. So I was fortunate enough to go to Port State as the D coordinator there at a young age. So the first year running it was getting thrown in the fire a little bit, and then we went 9-3, 9-3, Mineral Water Bowl champs, and we went to the playoffs the next year. So it was a very up-and-coming defense. Now, I ran for about 15 years this defense, and then we get to the last couple of years, and all the stuff that Jed's doing over on the board, okay, it's pretty good stuff. And we found out that we faced Oshkosh, I think in 2010, 11 maybe it was, and we were doing pretty good in our league. We were 8-2, and stuff was doing real well, and all of a sudden all option stuff came about. And the 4.25 just wasn't the best defense, to be honest with you, to run against option stuff. So we started dabbling into the 3-4. We fortunately got John O'Grady on our staff for a year, and he kind of helped us out how to defend all that stuff, and the best way to defend it was to be a 3-4. And then we faced Platte, who was a spread. When they spread us out, we wanted to spread out more and we'll get some more bodies on the edge. So we were crossed between a 4-2 and a 3-4, basically. And within the last year, we actually sold out. We're not running the 4.25 right now. We run bits and pieces of it yet, but yet we sold out. We took our staff up to Minnesota Duluth, and now we run the 3-4. I'm kind of out of the coordinator spot now as a head coach. I let our assistants do that, but I still like to coach a position, so I still coach the D-line. But so that's just a little history of where this all came from. But to start out, I want to give you basically in the next hour, I'm just going to go through this real quick and kind of give you just an abbreviated version of how simple this defense can really be, and what I've learned from it. So, Coach Kennedy said, what the fuck's a 4.25? Okay, all a 4.25 is, it is a cross between a 4.4 and a 4.3. That's all it is. It's a nickel package. Okay, so TCU when they Gary Patterson is supposed to be known as the guy who came up with this whole concept where he hated being the 4.3 and then adding a nickel guy and taking this guy out and doing personnel shit. Because all offenses now, they take the same personnel and then they'll get in all these crazy formations with the same personnel. So basically what they did is they kind of had a hybrid where they took these different outside linebackers and made them safeties. They're not their true outside linebackers. They're not just going to flat drop every time. They're guys that can actually cover man-to-man. They can also play high, they can play low, they can blitz off an edge. They're kind of your universal soldier. So as you look at it, we have a 4-man front. One thing important in a defense like this is that every symbol on our board has a different signal. You don't have two ends, you don't have two tackles. Okay, this will play in a little bit later as we get talking about it. We have an end. Your end is going to be your true end, your bigger guy, that can play in the face of a tight end, that's very athletic, still has some pass rush move stuff. Your 3 technique is still going to be your stud, okay? He's going to get most of the 1-1 blocks because they double the nose on pass protections. Your nose is going to be your biggest guy. I mean, he's going to be a block of granite. Most of the times he's sitting in that A-gap. Your attack end, is basically your pass rush freak, okay? You don't like him covered up double tight, you're like, oh shit, hopefully he can hold his own there, but he's more your free pass type guy. So you got a lot of different body types you can kind of throw in there. It's not just, hey, you're an end. Your Sam is more your stout inside linebacker, kind of the guy who's going to be mostly in the A gap, not as much pass stuff, because if you look at these three guys as linebackers, he's more your Mike linebacker in your 4-3. Your Mike, that we call Mike, he's more your B-gap defender. He's going to be added into coverage more and flexed out when they start breaking formation and adding doubles. Okay, so he's got to be more your faster linebacker with your Mike. Your B right here is going to be basically your prototypical strong safety. Most of the time he's going to be covering a curl flat. He's going to be blitzing off the edge, but he can also come out here and play man-to-man against a detached number 2. Your free safety, prototypical free safety, we play with the field. You can play with the right or read side and away side corner. We play with a field corner or boundary corner. Okay, our cover guy is tiny guy, great feet, though we stick him in the boundary because we'll play more main coverage into the boundary since we are a split coverage defense. Our Hornet's kind of the universal soldier. He can play high. If they want to break this formation with trips, he can play high to get to more of a 4-3 look, or he can play low, he can blitz off it. He can do everything that this guy does and this guy does, okay? So that just kind of gives you a little mindset of where we're coming from. So that's how a 4-2-5 looks to a 2-man set. When we break formation, they get to a 1-man set. Basically, all we do is we drop that universal soldier we call a Hornet. Okay, just for lack of better words, when I was in Florida State, their mascot was a Hornet, so we call them Hornet. Okay, so think of some letters that you can make some names off of it later on. So basically, you can drop here and play. Basically, you have 3-on-2 right here. You have 3-on-2 over here, and then he's reading off of the final 3 guys. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's basically the gist of things. People say, why a 4-2-5? Why is it so good? What do you like about it? It's a nickel defense. It's very fast and aggressive. I'll show you the progression here in a little bit. It's a cross between a 4-4 and a 4-3 is all it is. It's easy adjustments and formations because you're a nickel package. You got 5 D-backs on the field at all times. Okay, so it's very easy to formation adjust to. We have good blitz angles. It is a gap control defense. We're going to ask you to control 1 gap, we'll never 2 gap. Okay, right now we're running a 3-4. Sometimes we ask that no, it's a 2 gap. We never do that in the 4-2-5. You have good angles to set edges on. What Jim was talking about, keeping the outside really free a lot of times, and they run them up to mom up in the stands. That's some of the stuff that we kind of do. Allows us to run a split coverage in the back end, and it allows us, if you think about it, to run a 4-4 or 4-3. We can get in, I'll show you how we can do a 3-3 stack very easy and a 3-4 very easy, out of the same personnel. Okay, because your attack end, remember, he's your pass rush guy. Okay, he's kind of your freak, kind of your guy that can kind of do a lot. Okay, he's oversized linebacker, maybe, if you will. He can drop easily in the middle in a 3-3 stack. He can take his hand off him and play detached a little bit in the flex into the boundary, covering limited area and getting that 3-4. And we've done all these. In college, it's different because every week you're facing some crazy offense and all this RPO shit, and they're spreading you out now. So, if they're multiple, you got to be multiple nowadays. In college, they're putting up 500 to 600 yards a game. Holy shit, usually hold a team to 300 yards of offense, you're like, good game, man. Now you hold a team to 500 yards of offense, like, not bad, okay? So it is crazy, and, talking, we just at the National Coaching Convention, talking to some of my friends who are like, and their D coordinators are like, this fucking game sucks, man, I ain't doing something. This is crazy. The offenses, we're putting up 600 yards in our offenses, and we're third in our league with 600 yards of offense. He goes, it's just nuts. Well, this is Gary Patterson, if you ever see anything with him. This is how he talks. What they try to do when they recruit or they have guys, they try to make aggressive corners safeties. Okay, so it's kind of like the natural progression coming down. The stiff safeties, go make them linebackers. The oversized linebacker, make them end. And we've had some great defensive ends that are oversized linebackers. That's all they were. It's like, God, you're stiff, but I tell you what, you put your hand off that edge, you're pretty good because you're going from fast to being, or from slow to being fast real quick. Oversized D ends, we stick at D tackles. And then our biggest guys knows that they can't make it there, they're probably offensive linemen. No D-line wants to hear that. Okay? Hints before we get started. I'm just going to throw a couple up here real quick. Each position has its own symbol. We talked about that. All you're doing here in this whole system is just creating your language. Okay? And this is Patterson's big thing. And we spent hours in staff meetings, like we come up with some new concept. There better be a reason for why we call it that. It's got to trigger something in the mind. I hate just coming up with words. Let's call it, Pinocchio. Why do you pick that? I don't know, just a word. So I'm just not a believer in that. I'm an elementary education major by trade, and I want word association. Create a language. So we do words. Use words that associate and acronyms. Be able to explain why you named it. So when a kid comes in the room, hey, we got this new Blitzen, we're calling it Okie Cross. Why are you calling it that? Okay, explain why we're calling it that. Teach concepts. One words that direct multiple people. Teach a concept and developing blitzes. That's just going to be creating a sentence. And then I'll tell you about our watch that we use. We call it a watch. It's a wristband basically, and how it all works. That's our book. And then we have to understand adjustments when to use them. So here's what I'm going to bust through real quick. I'm going to tell you everything, our whole playbook. And I got PowerPoints up the yazoo of every little detail. We got drills on every little detail. I've been doing this, coaching this defense for like 15 to 16 years. So you name it, I got on this defense. We just don't run anymore. So we're talking about front stunts, twists, blitzes, and then coverages, and breeze through a lot of this stuff. So first, fronts. I remember sitting in the staff meeting when I was young, and Gary Darnell when I was coaching Western. Guys. There's only 7 ways to set your eagle. Okay, he used to always use an old school guy, D coordinator, coach for Lou Holtz, and at Notre Dame, and he's like, you got a strong or a tight, you got a weak split. Okay, and then you got your field, your boundary, your right, your left, and then you got your set to your stud. Okay, whatever star dog you want to call it. Okay. So basically what this is we have a tight front. A tight is basically, we're setting it to the tight end. That's what we call a tight. A tight G is talking to the nose. We want him in a shade on the center and a tight. In a tight G, we're just setting him a shade in the nose so you get that 2I. A tight G opposite. Gary Patterson was a big thing we called split. Split G he used to run. So that means the end would be over here, the attack would be over here. All these guys would be flipped, and we just line up in that front. But when we start running this, like, I never want to have that attack covered up by a tight end because he's our skinny little freak guy coming off the edge. So we just kind of progress to be a tight G opposite, just so we can get that eagle to the weak side. Outlaw, they're both out. Tim, they're both 2 eyes. Okay, and then heads, we just have their head up techniques. So basically, those are the main fronts that we run. Okay, stunts. When you develop a stunt in this package, again, you're thinking of every word. Every person is individualized in any defense. For our tackle, he needs to know a tin and tie. Tackle in, tackle over guard. Okay, nin, nose in, nog, nose over guard, or not nose out. Okay, you got to go to the ends, ek, and then C gap. Ed, and then D gap. Pretty simple, right? Fire and boot. It's hard to come up with A words, right? So fire in, boot out. Okay, so them are his 2 words that he needs to know. 2-man concepts. So 1 word moves multiple guys. We have aim. This is like TCU, just right out of the playbook. Okay, so if you're wondering what they're doing, it's just the same verbatim. Aim is away. The 2 guys go away from the tight end, or to where we set the front, I should say. Toro 2, directions, you have a linebacker in there, and they start humping around that H-back or the fullback, then go random lucky and get those guys slanted that way. You can do that at heads, you can do that of a tight front or a tight G. Indian, they're both going in, out, they're both going out. Pretty simple. A lot of these stuff too, you're going to use in blitz games, okay? Well, that's why you need all these movements. You're like, when would you run an out? Why would you start in 10 and go out? That way, that makes no sense. It's for a blitz game. You need to have those words every universal way. Army talks about everybody. Everybody's away. So this would be a tight G Army. You set your front tight. Everybody knows it's set to the tight end. We're going away. The whole group is slanting away. This would be a tight tank. So now it's tight. So with the nose in the shade here, he goes across the face of that center. Tight tank. Pinching. Everybody's pinching in. Bulls is something kind of neat. These 2 things. Jet's pretty simple. It's pass rush. Giddy up and go. We use bull a lot for draws and screens. It's 2nd and 15. Everybody in the world's like screaming, hey, watch it, draw a screen. Okay, so what bull does is it tells our nose and our tackles that they can play in the shade or head up, and they're basically bull rushing that guard. They're not creating penetration. They're just looking straight ahead. Okay, they're playing the draw on the screen. The best way to defend a draw is you don't want to pick a side, right? So they can't run you up the field. So that's why we're keeping them square. We don't want to have them turn and run and pick a side. So we're head up with them, so we have a two-way goal. So we're two-gapping basically. It allows your ends basically in this situation to do whatever the hell they want. Our ends love what we call bull, because now they can go off the edge, they can tee it up, they can say, okay, here's my chance. I can make an inside pass rush move, because up till now, my coach is telling me, contain, okay? When we get a bull call on, they can make an inside pass rush move. So, all we tell these guys is look for draw, screen, and a flash. We call it a flash. So, if the DN takes an inside move, and he flashes in your lane, then you replace it, and it's just an automatic twist, game as you see here. If he takes an outside speed rush or does an outside move, he stays in here looking for draw and screen. We've gotten picks off of this. We got one this year again. Our nose tackle got one off of this. Twist games. If you look at twist games, we have the inside guys. We call them TAN. Tackle first and then the nose. Okay? A nap is just the opposite. The nose is a stunner. Your tackle is the looper. Pretty simple stuff, right? Gate's an interesting one too. It's basically a read. It's a read stuff for inside two guys. They both aim for the V of the neck. Okay, so they're aiming for the V of the neck. If that center steps to you, you're the automatic looper. Okay, so you're both aiming for the V of the neck, because if he steps one direction, you're coming tight off his ass, and you're responsible for the opposite pass rush lane. He steps to you, you hit, and then automatically it's like swinging a gate. You got your gate here and it swings. Okay, so that's what we call a gate. All right. So those are inside guys. The outside guys, we use a U-meet technique. Okay, so. If we call a U game, the end is always talking, because they're the dudes on the outside, okay? So they're the ones that always talk. So if he wants a twist, that guy goes and he wants a twist underneath, he calls you. He's just calling him who the stunter is. Hey, you be the stunter, I'm gonna be the looper, okay? So this makes it fun, because when I get down to here, I'll show you, but, so this is a typical U game, this is a me game. I'm gonna stunt, I'm gonna give them a hard step, maybe 1-2, and they come underneath, so it's an inside pass rush move. You come over top and keep contained. You can go weak U, double me, double U, whatever you want to conjure up, whatever. But games basically, literally single in is, you know what, DNs, you know what you're best at, do whatever the hell you want, I don't give a shit. We got 4 guys rushing the passer, and you know, our starting DN might like this game. Our backup DN, if he's in the game, he might just like the jet, that might be his specialty. So instead of me having to pick and choose what the hell they're good at, let them have some freedom, just call games and just do whatever you want. We just want a 4-man rush against it. So they call it, they can call a U, a me, a jet. They can also call a bull, right? Because bull says, hey, I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want. You just watch me, just make me right, okay? So we added some other things as we progressed. They're on the playbook here. Run twists. Everybody's got, those U and me games are mostly pass twists, okay? You can run up maybe a UV stunt against his own team, but most of those are mostly pass. These are basically run twists. These were picked up basically from a little after they kind of did with the 425. Every year we used to meet, it was an invite-only clinic at TCU, so all the 425 guys would kind of go there and they'd sit in a room like this and they're just grinding, okay? So we used to go to that every single year, which was kind of cool, because then it's like, hey, what are you guys seeing? What are you guys doing? And everybody was speaking the same language, which was cool. But they started looking at Warren Sapp when he played for the Buccaneers. And that's why it's called Pirate Pop from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But this is Warren Sapp right here at the nose. So basically the run twist, what they're doing is basically, this is a great game to stop power. So basically what you're doing is you're stunting your 5 or your 7 technique, there's a tight end there, stunting them in the A and B gaps, okay? Your nose is gonna hold point on the backside in that A gap. If it's a run, he's holding right there. So basically, this is a good stunt pirate against power teams, and we run this a lot. If it happens to be a pass, you're like, oh shit, our end just went into B gap. We have 0 contained. Okay, so that's when you saw Sapp would boom, they'd tilt nose him too, and they'd play right here, and he'd red pass, and then he'd bust around the edge here, and he'd be contained. So he'd be the inside pass rush lane, outside, and he'd just keep contained on this side. The pop was good against more of the ISO weak teams, you know, on that side where you got Whitewater. We ran a shitload of pop back when they were more their traditional offense, 2-back when more Leopold was there earlier. But you know, we had the Mike linebacker right here, and then they might have twins out here, so our other guy was stretched, our safety was stretched, and it was hard to spill to him. So basically, if he was removed, we'd run a lot of pop games for the run, knowing that we could always have a pass game out of it. So basically, we'd stunt him in and screw up that ISO so that fullback would have to track and bounce out here, so we could get the Mike linebacker spilling, and that ball would be bounced out here to where we're helpless. And if it was a pass, then our nose would just loop around to the opposite side. Okay, so you have a strong game and a weak game, but these are basically just strictly run twists. Your linebacker stunts. Pretty simple. Remember, we use a watch, so I'll show you what our watch looks like here in a little bit when we talk about blitzes. But these are for more blitzes. So if you're coming and we just want Sam A, we literally run the watch, Sam A, Mike B. Sack means Sam across the center, Mike across center. South, Sam out wide, Mike out wide. Okay, so just create those basically acronyms to get what you want. Okay? So those are all the fronts, the stunts, and the twists basically. Okay, I'm cruising through this. We're going to try to get through all these slides. And then time for your questions. But developing a blitz game. You talk about concepts now. Okay, when you talk about 4-2-5, you basically got 4 guys hovering around. This can be the same exact thing in a 3-4. Okay, so we have our, for lack of better terms, bullets. This is what TCU called bullets. The 2 backers are going. Smokes, the 2 safeties are going. A dog is 4 off an edge. Pretty simple, right? And then you got your 5-man package. We won't talk about that today. The bullets, so linebacker pressures in some way come up the middle, right? So we're going to be, if you put all this stuff together now, the ends, as soon as you say bullets, you teach them concepts. As soon as you say bullets, the ends are thinking, okay, there's a blitz coming up the middle. I don't give a shit what it is. I don't care if they're crossing, if they're hitting it, it doesn't matter. All they need to know when they hear bullets on their watch or see it is that they need to keep contained. Okay, that's all they need to know. So in here, if you look at outlaw, you have outlaw, and they're coming in. You have Indian, okay, so outlaw Indian, they're coming in, and then you got bullets B. Okay, pretty simple. Tight G out. So we have a tight G, so the tight end's over here, so we're sending Liz. They're just going to the out. He's already in that gap already, out. And then we have the linebackers, bullets AO. A gap, opposite A gap, okay? So we'll read those a little bit too. We can talk about that later. Edges, smokes, edge blitzes. These are just the safeties now, safety smokes. So now the ends know, these guys know they're going to be controlling the A and B gaps regardless. The Mike and the Sam know right away that, hey, my A and B gaps are going to be covered. I'm getting edge pressures, so I got to make plays in C gaps basically if it's a run. Okay. So this would be a tight G or pinching all these guys. It's a double smoke. Okay. Not one of them smoking, but both of them double are smoking. Okay. A tight G Indian, double lion. Lion means loop. Okay, so now it's basically ends are charging upfield, and then the Baron and the Hornet are coming underneath. Okay, so we get the tight G Indian on the inside to cover the A gaps. Okay, very simple, right? Your dogs are 4 off an edge. Dogs are basically you can run your dogs from a tight, the split side. You can go from wide to short, left to right, or you can take a star dog. So if you wanted us to take, hey, we're going to blitz wherever that H-back lines up, that's where we're hitting it. Okay, that's where we're going to run the dog into every single time. Again, Whitewater, we ran a shitload of dogs against Whitewater a lot of times with their power schemes. Tight G Army, so you set it to the tight Army, everybody's going away from the tight end, and you have a T dog, so where the tight end is, those safety and linebacker to the tight end are blitzing B gap. B gap, and he knows he's just coming off the edge blitz rules. Okay, tight tank S dogs. All these. If they're running, zone scheme to the strong side a lot, T dogs. If they're running a power scheme, this is good for power. Believe it or not, because you have the Mike screaming down the backside A gap. So all these blitzes, you just get in your head that after a long time doing them, which ones work to what plays, and just like anything else, you're guessing what they're trying to run, right? So. If they're killing a power, boom, this would be a call, or a pirate, right? So tight tank S-dog A is basically tight tank. We're tanking everything to the tight end. We're sending it from the S side, the split side, okay, and then he's blitzing the A gap. So when they pull that guard and they try to block that nose, he's going to go probably with that nose, and he's going to be screaming through for a run through, okay? So those are our concepts. So basically when you look at our watch then, okay, this is where it gets a little simpler. So everything we have, this is an example of what's on their wrists. So we buy them those little clear cards, and some guys put on their belts or whatnot. But you have categories. So we have a stunt category, a twist category, bullets, dogs, and smokes we talked about. We have some zone blitz stuff over here as well. We color code everything on these watches. So I have like three or four Excel spreadsheets. One's for D-line. And I even broke it up, so I have one for just the end and the attack watch. I have a nose and tackle watch. I have a linebacker watch. Okay, and then we used to wristband our secondary, but we started going to signal calling, and I'll explain that why we did that. But we color code all this, so anything in black talks to everybody. Anything in green talks to just the D-line. So AIM, Indian, okay, TAN, Armies, okay, all this stuff is just talking to the D-line. The blue is linebackers, and we take this a step further too sometimes by having different colors for a Mike linebacker and Sam linebacker. If the kid colorblind, he's screwed. Okay, so make sure, before you recruit them, you gotta know that. Purple is all dummy signals. So if you see here, tight, Tim, tight G, whatever, okay? So in signaling, what we do basically is you can do whatever type of number system you want, okay? We used to do 1 nose, 2 ears, 3 chins, 4 because it looks like a 4, 5 with the belly. Okay, 6 for 6, 7 looks like a 7, 4 plus 4 is 8, knee 9, top 10. Okay, so now if you want to say your stunts, we'll go stunt, twist, bullets, we'll go like this, dogs, here, smoke, okay, pretty simple. So now on the sideline, you basically are going, hey, let's go smoke 1, okay, and then point to them, it means it's done. Smoke 1, boom, we're pointing in. We're only talking to the box now, okay? So we're talking to basically the 6 people on the inside, okay? That's what this watch is coordinating. The back end, they're signaling, hey, let's go double, and they would have a different signal for smoke. They could use the same one, double smoke, or double smoke they used to go, okay? So now we have 2 signal callers on the sideline, one signaling to the front 6, and one signaling to all the 5 D-backs, okay? So now, trust me, it's very easy to pick up signals in our column. We have a guy designated in a box. All he does is pick up signals. So our offense, if you can watch us, we're one of those, get to the line, get in a formation, done, say, hook, and then we look over. Well, the guy in the box knows every single time what the hell they're running. Hey, they're coming with bullets up the middle. And he's, by the end of the first quarter, he's got it dialed in, every single team. Because defenses, they're pretty simple. They're one guy's calling it. It's like you're splitting at them, okay? And then we just check stuff all over, okay? So basically with this, we're trying to a little bit more proactive where we had 2 signal callers and doing stuff. And then we had dummy signals. Hey, I think this is, every time we do this, we're bringing in pressure. So then we go smoke 3, boom. And it's just like, okay, let's just play all up, okay? Or let's just play it. And you can put your dummy calls in there. So now you do this, and all of a sudden, hey, they went like this, and it's going to be a smoke. And then all of a sudden you run no blitz, and just type, you're like, well, there goes that one, race that, okay? So offenses are a little more harder. I sit on the sideline all the time trying to, what the hell are you doing? They're signaling, trying to break it on myself, and shit, they got boards, and they got every freaking thing you want to do in offense. Defensive guys are just like, here, blitz. Cerrone just yells it. Hey, cover 4. Okay? I mean, he doesn't do anything. He just starts yelling across the field. It's like, well, what are you going to do? You know, hey, here's what they're running, but don't matter. So it's interesting how everybody does it. So that's how we run our watch, okay? Our watch. Okay, if you want to start talking, let's start diving into these. I'm going to go through these real quick. Like, how do we fit against different things? Okay? And this is we're going to talk some run games, some pass games, and I'll open up for some questions. But here's how we kind of dictate everything for our linebackers and our fits. We're basically a one-gap team. I mean, literally, it's a one-back team. So you're going to be, on a direct flow A. This is an ISO A gap. We're basically going to be boxing everything back to our linebackers. So we got the step-to-stack drill like you always do, right? Downhill. So the linebackers are both creasing it, and then we got a hold fold guy. If you guys run the 4-4, it's pretty simple. You always have the hold backsides, the hold fold, okay, cut back, reverse. And then you have setting an edge, outside arm leg free. The thing you want to do in a 4-2-5 and a 4-man front is I want all these guys to penetrate to the heels of the offensive lineman, and I want to formulate a wall right here. I want the linebacker to get downhill. I want him to step and stack and get downhill. But I want a wall right here. You never want a guy running up the field over here. This guy's back here. This guy's up here. Okay, when they recognize a run block, it should be, okay, I got to get from right here, boom, I get past my block, get to the heel so they can't block me, and then I stop. Because in run, they're coming this way, right? I don't need to go that way anymore. They're coming to me. In a pass, Now the quarterback's dropping back. I need to go get him, okay? So it's different. So once you become good and understand this and how simple it is, it should be almost boring for the D lineman. If they have good technique, you'll be good. Then you have direct flow B, okay? In an ISO situation on a weak side now, we won't bring this linebacker way over here to a B gap to step to stack. Okay, he's an A gap player basically, so we've got the A gap ISO. If it's a full flow away from him, he's got to take this. If he would step to stack over here and then box this, you'd leave a screaming A gap over on the back side here, especially with twins at that side, because he wouldn't be able to get there and he'd be too far removed. Okay, so basically you box it to the your Hornet who's folding back in, because he's tracking the fullback. Fullback goes in, he goes in. Fullback goes out, he goes out. Set the edge, right? So follow your fullback with the edge guys. Your direct flow C, your power, any off tackle power scheme. We're going to be skill players, and you know it's interesting when you guys were Jed's talk. You know, you'll know. I mean, if you're a spill team, you're a spill team. You know, our offensive guys like, how come we're not power against them? They're going to spill it every time. Fucking log his ass and run outside. We know if you're a spill team, just fucking let him spill. Who gives a shit? Just counter it. Okay, so you know we're a spill team. Very seldom we box, but we'll mess around with these guys a little bit too. Like if Joe was talking, we played Oshkosh, and you know they do the same type of offense, and we come up and set an edge, and they just run us up to mom's in the stands. We'll play games with them. We'll run a cut where he shows that he's going to box it and slice underneath them, and have that overlapping guy make him right. But for the most part, we're an edge set team over here. Any type of pull call, pull. It's very simple in this scheme. When you get a puller, he says pull, he replaces the buddy's gap. If it was this side, he replaces the buddy's gap. Okay, pull scheme, very simple. That's all you need to know there. Anytime you get a pull call from your buddy, those linebackers, all you have to do is scream off the edge of the box and get vertical. That's it. Spill everything. Okay, so it's pretty simple fits for those guys with linebackers. Fast flow, again, you're just basically doing a mirror drill. You want to stay inside out on that football and force everything, because we do have edge setting in the 4-2-5, right? We want to box everything. We're not like a 4-3 where we spill with our overhang guys and run alleys with the two high safeties. There's only one high safety. Split flow to us means no flow. Pretty simple. Split flow, no flow. So linebackers know, as soon as they see that both backs split, I just go and jam up in my gaps, because then it turns into a one back. As soon as they start split flowing with no pulls, it's just like there's a tight end over here, and any one back, all you gotta do is mirror up in your gap. One back flow is just like a split flow. Everybody has their gaps, pretty solid. Counter flow, again, you got a pull call. We call this rock and roll, because you know, with both backs going this way, it might juke you, or they see full flow this way. Oh shit! And then you rock and roll it, pull. He goes to replace his buddy's gap. He scrapes straight for skin off the edge of the box, and you're out rolling. Pass coverage wise, so those are basically all of our run fits. Okay, and then you got the specialty ones you got to spend some time on. What's kind of nice about the 4-2-5 and having those 5 D-backs and the nickel package is your split coverage defense. And this was big back in the day. You know, it wasn't just cover 4 or quarter half across the board. You have the luxury of basically scheming what you like against 2 detached to the field, or 3 detached, or 2 detached with a tight end. Some people call it trace. So literally our free safety would go into the game with some checks. He would say, okay, there's 2 out there, here's what we want you to run. If there's 2 out there with a tight end, here's what you want you to run. Or if there are 3 detached, here's what you want you to run. Or if they went formation in the boundary and there was 1 guy out here, here's what you got to do too. Okay, so he could just look out there and read the scheme of things. Okay, how many receivers do I got? Here's what coach told me to check it, and he checks his defense. We still do this out there, check defenses. Why? Because everybody changes tempos, and we won't have time to signal and all this stuff. So we have base stuff. Here's your checks for your week, okay? And then, if you feel a knack, if they're slowing down, you have time, and you feel that, I think they're 3rd and 5, and they're just going to run hitches, let's go cover 2. Okay, let's try to bury the low zones and get a pick off or get a deflection. So then you can always throw in your little splice that you want. But here's how split coverage works. Basically, the free safety is the quarterback over here. Your Hornets is the quarterback over here. He's the quarterback of everything. He comes out, he says, okay, this would be for us reading left. So all we do is we go passing strength with back here, how we set everything, how they read. So passing strength to us is going to be multiple receivers. If the ball is in the middle, with doubles and it's balanced, we go always to the left because most quarterbacks are right-handed. A little easier to throw to that side of the field. Okay, pretty simple. So basically, he's making a call. He's going read left, and he'll call coverage over here. Cover, robber, okay? So he'll go robber coverage over here. This guy may say, you know what? Hey, I got two guys over here. It's in the boundary. Let's run cover two because I can cover. It's into the boundary. I can cover this whole side of the half easy. You guys screw down and cover all the short stuff for all your Platte Phil's little chuck out there, bubble stuff into the boundary nonstop. Okay, so it allows them to kind of split everything. The middle guy's pretty easy. He's married to the front side of the cover, but he's always worried playing off number 3. Okay. If you look at, once they break that formation with doubles, they come with trips. Now it's unbalanced. So basically now you have a determination in any type of defense you run. What are you going to do with this guy right here? Most of the time the quarterback is reading what they're going to do with that guy. Okay? Are you bringing him over to help on this side of the line? So you can have 1, 2, 3 against 1, 2, 3, 4? Or are they going to keep him back here so you can go double on that number 1? So this guy's the main guy. I'll show you 3 different ways that we play that on both of this. Okay? Okay, so let's talk coverage real quick. These are some of the base coverage, and this is the Robert coverage is basically the 4-2-5 where Patterson was like, why the hell would you play cover 3? We want to get 9 in the box. It's a run formation. You play Robert coverage against run formation. Okay, so this is a run formation. Okay, so let's screw him down and let's get him robbing and gain that 9th guy, which they cannot block. So he'll be running free. And a lot of times you look at our defenses and they're like, God, your safeties are your leading tacklers. God, they must be just cutting omelet through butter, It's like, yeah, but they're making them for less than 3 yards because we're screwing them down. They're flat footing an 8. Okay, they're a glorified linebacker. They should make the play. If everybody's doing their job, these guys should be the most highest productive players on your team. Okay, so in this one, in a Robert coverage, basically all we're doing is it's basically a invert cover 2, if you would, to this side, because your safety's a Rob player. He's your flat. He's theoretically man-to-man clue deep half. So how this works? He's going to be. You can see him stemming here, so that's at the stem. So he'll be 2x8 on the inside of this number 1 receiver on pre-snap. Okay. His biggest thing is he knows he has no free safety help. Okay, we can't give him any type of free safety help. So he's got to play 2 and 8 because the biggest thing they can beat you on right now is the post play. Okay, so he's got to take alignment. His biggest thing, his biggest rule is do not give up the post. You have to defend the post. Okay, because you'll have underneath help, you'll have plenty of time, you'll have ball time to the outside. So we call it a man-to-man clue. Okay, so he's thinking when he lines up, I got him man-to-man. Period. Okay, the Baron is a zoom flat player. Okay, and then it's called swing deep with number 3. So he's zooming to the flat. So as soon as you reach pass, he's put an inside foot up. You can put it don't matter how you do it, but it's simplest with inside foot up because you got the run. That's how you set an edge, and you're dropping, you're already open. Okay, so he'll drop. He'll get to a depth of, we want to say 12 yards is the top or underneath the zone, but a lot of times he'll get to 10, which is fine. But he's going to zoom this flat and take away anything underneath of number 1. Okay, so if it's a 3-step drop, they're told to drive back at a 45 to cover the hitch and then out. We're not going to get to the guy, but we're going to be in a passing lane, and that trajectory of that ball is low. Okay, so he's going to be driving back to that 45 degree. The free safety is the key to this one. He's vertical at number 2. Okay, so if 2 goes vertical, he's got a man-to-man. He's got him man-to-man. But if 2 does anything else, if he goes out or in, okay, then he yells to this guy, wheel, wheel, wheel. Okay, if he goes out, and so then he knows right away, hey, I know that I have underneath help that if he goes out, he's going to be robbing, so now I can zone off this guy, and all I got to do is play over the top of this guy, okay? Because he knows number 2 is not vertical, he's got help now. So the robber coverage is basically, he's going to rob, curl, dig the post. So if he goes out anyway, he's going to take this guy, he's going to flat foot read, eyes go right to 1, and he's just going to be hawking him. So it's just going to be wheel, 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 wheel. He's going to be watching him. He's going to be running, is he chopping on his feet to run a curl, or is he long striding and pressure stuff for a post, and he's just going to be keying him. And as soon as he shuts it down, he's going right for underneath him. So he's going to try to rob that guy. So if you got a curl flat concept, okay, he should be there to pick that off. Okay, most of it's play action stuff, so they can help out. If it's a dig, he's going to rob that next, and then he's going to help with the post. But we can't guarantee. What are the robber beaters? Send him up 10 yards, sit him right there, and send a post over the top. he has to maintain and bite on that number 2, and he's got to try to defend that post, okay? That's a tough one. On the backside, it's the same thing, we call it sky coverage. Sky means safety down, right? So he's just, basically there's only 2 guys on 1, he's over the top, he's underneath. It's still a man-to-man clue, swing deep at 2. Swing deep at 2 and 3 means if he went vertical, and this guy came out of the backfield and actually swung and went deep, he needs to carry him because he's the only one left. Okay, so you have a swing deep at 2 rules. All these things never change really. If you look at the linebackers one from the last one, vert 3, final 3. Here's one of these 2 guys give you number 3. If they go vertical, he's got him man-to-man. If he goes out, he passes this guy, he's the new number 3. So they do a sit-down route and he goes outside, he's the new number 3. That means it says final 3. What's a final 3? When he throws it, that's when you're, some people call it 3-2-1, or whatever you want to call it. Okay? I used to coach for a guy when, he used to, Kyle Meisher, he's the head coach at Northern Michigan. And he used to always tell me, he's like, explain to me this coverage. And I started explaining, like, okay, so if this guy does this, and he's got to do this. And he looked at me like, boy, you got diarrhea in the mouth, man. If you can't say something in 5 words, don't say it all. You better freaking figure it out, man. You got to be coaching on the run. It's got to be fast. Okay? So right there, I'm like, holy shit, it makes a lot of sense. So we basically tell these guys, if he does it wrong, hey, vert 3, final 3. It's got to be something quick because our offense, I'm running so many in place, so many quick that half the time you're just like, you're on film like this because you can't keep up. So it's got to be something quick. You can tell these guys. Quarter coverage, we all know about quarter coverage. Okay, everything that the coverage is in 4-2-5 is everything is just think of robbing and very aggressive. It's matching, it's reading routes. It ain't spot dropping. Everything is very. We want to suck all the green grass and open space out. So basically, right here, a mean technique means, and you don't even have to incorporate this, but all that meant is if you had a split coverage here, these corners need to know if you're going to expand out to the flat with this guy. Okay. Sometimes if there was two detached over here, this corner he would just yell at me, meaning I got you, I'm here. Okay. On this side, there's 2 detached. He's not going to be there right away, okay? If he's going to be inside leverage to that number 2. On this side, he's outside leverage. Me, I got him. I can handle him easy. He crosses my face, I'm going to be all over him like white on rice. I don't need you, okay? So then that allows that corner not have to jump. If number 2 comes out, he doesn't have to be like that read flat guy. Where on this side, he's on the inside of number 2, this linebacker. So if this number 2 came out, he has to jump him. It's more of a read flat. It's like the cover 2 read, you call it. If anybody has ran that, this is more of a 2 read, the old school 2 read. This is more of a cover 4 robber. So basically the same thing. Wheel roll, you're robbing post to curl. So those are just quick coverages. Cover 2, it's typical cover 2. You're jam funneling, trying to funnel to the free safety. Pretty simple stuff there.
10 minutes, coach.
Yep. And then we have the man's on the back side. So basically, when you get into the split coverage thing, we can run, like say, if they have 2 detached, let's say we're running quarter coverage, that's a check. Hey, if they come out with 2 detached, we want to run quarter coverage. All right. If they came out with on the back side, if they came out with a wide out and a tight end, we want to run a lock. Okay, so we want to man that up. But if they came out with 2 detached over here, then it might be something else. So now it's like, okay, there's 2 wide receivers now. That's more of a threat. Let's maybe run a quarters over there if it's in the middle of the field, or if it's in the boundary that's trying to cover 2, because that's more of a threat. Tight end, fat, slower guy. Our safety should, be able to cover the tight end pretty easy. So we feel more comfortable locking up over there, man to man. Okay. So lock is just a call into the boundary. It says you got 1, you got 2, you got 3. Okay. If 3 goes the opposite way, you're vicing number 2. So basically you turn and you vice him. So if he runs a little stick route right here, okay, RPO stuff or whatever, you can help vice him, okay? Solo. These are all the trips checks now. So we have a way to take away 1, 2, and 3 in all of our trips coverages. So solo, if you sing solo, you're all alone, right? Singing solo on the mic. So that's where it came from. One-on-one back here. Mike has the back man-to-man, okay? The high hornet has a vertical of number 3. So if 3 goes vertical in any way, or it comes across this way into the man side, he has to jump him. But if he goes anything out, Now you can tell him whatever you want him to do. You can build a deep wall, help with 2. You can have him rob to the backside. He's a free player. Sometimes we have him quarter off back here to help post, from both of these sides. You can tell him whatever you want to game plan that week, tell him to do something. But if 3's vertical, he's got to take them. That allows these 3 guys to play whatever coverage you want on him. Cover 2, they can play cover 4, they can play robber. It doesn't matter, okay? So that's called solo. The next way we run it is what we call roll. Okay, this is taking away number 2 now. So basically, why they call it roll is we took our bear and we roll him up in the face of number 2. Because right now they have a potential of 3 verticals. Well, in roll, we want to keep this guy, instead of robbing him over here to play solo on him and stealing him and not making this guy play one-on-one all the time, we want to keep him back here so we can double him. A lot of teams in our league, Arnold and Flatfield, go. You go over one over there, we're going to take all the other 3 guys over here and see what are you going to do with him. You going to man him up? Okay, or you're going to have to double them so we can pick on their trip side. Okay, so a lot of times you have to keep him over there. So now you have to have different ways to play a trip set over here with basically these 4 guys. Okay, so this is the roll. You bang the shit out of number 2. Do not let him go vertical right away. Okay, basically hold the piss out of him, right? And then just meander to your curl to flat area to drop like quarters. But no, these guys have to change their alignment. They're splitting the difference between 1 and 2 with a step towards 2. He's between 2 and 3, step towards 3. Okay, and allowing that ball time. So this, we used to call it deep at Western Michigan. These guys are basically just deep quarters. Okay, there's no robber technique. They're true quarters, so they can try to handle the 3 vertical of this. But hopefully this guy gets hung up by this guy. He's doing his job, so he can squeeze him a little bit. He can still be over the top here. This will be used for ball time. Okay. The last one is bulldog. We call this multiple things. When I was at Emporia State, we played Truman. Truman State was the Bulldogs back then. They're not even in the league anymore. But this is how we take away number 1 receiver. So now we had solo, we had roll where we take away him, and now this is bulldog where we would just lock him up man to man. Okay, usually they don't throw this guy much anyhow in the trips in the field way over there. Okay, so we lock him up man to man, and then we have a banjo coverage between these 2 guys right here. Okay, so basically it's a mini version of cover 2. All right, so this allows us to keep our Hornet backside again to double him. And now basically he's turning into a corner. So 2 went vertical and 3 came out. He exchanged that. These 2 guys were exchanged. He's helping a wall inside. So it's funnel, and then to this high safety basically. But we just tell these guys to banjo these 2 guys, and you have help with the short wall underneath. Okay? So that would be a bulldog. Okay? Any questions with that? Okay. I streamed through that. But again, the best way, basically what I want to come here is an overview of a 425 and what it is kind of. And if you guys have questions, I get one of my PowerPoints leaked on the internet one time. Somebody put it out there just like the base 425. There's a basic PowerPoint you can see. And a lot of these do clinics in Europe all over the place. So I'd give them everything like shit. You're in Europe, we do the shit. Here, take my playbook, take everything, all these PowerPoints I made. Well, one of them linked it up in this, I don't even know what the hell it's called. But I've gotten so much from that one little email, one little PowerPoint up there. People have phoned me all over the place to talk about this dang defense. It's unbelievable. It's got me to Europe or a dozen times to give clinics. I've been to Miami, Florida. They flew me down there to install this defense. So basically, if you want me to install it for you, I have no problem coming to your school and giving you a bunch of stuff. And all the forms, all the charts. If you really wanted to dive into it, I love talking. Just defensive football. I tried to coach a couple years offense. I was a big fan. But, so I'm just going to lay that out to you. I'll open up with anything you want in the 425, and this is just stuff that I just stole from other people. A couple of things. This is my cell phone. Don't be shy to ever call me on my cell phone. If you want to write that number down, it's always on me. I don't even use my office phone or my home phone. I just call me on my cell phone. Emails. You can always email me with some stuff if you want. If you don't feel comfortable calling or texting. But we have a 7-on-7 Big Dog Challenge on July 13th. I know there's a lot of them out there. This one's a little different with the Big Dog Challenge, which is kind of cool. It gives an opportunity to bring offense and defensive linemen. Some of you guys do a lot of 7-on-7s, and that's great. But I think the one thing that's missing in the summer is for the rest of the team, for the O-line, the D-line, to just go and compete. And there's no pads on, but we'll do tire flips. We'll do multiple things. And it really neat to see them bond. I think Lindy had been there before. A couple of you guys in there brought some teams down, but, you know, I wish there was more stuff out there for every part instead of just the skill guys running around playing 7-on-7. So if you're interested in that, let me know. You can just bring a big dog team. You don't need to bring a 7-on-17. But it's a Thursday night deal, okay? So it's not the Saturday, so we have to waste that. So it's a Thursday night. So just want to throw that out there. But any questions at all? Just some random stuff before we wrap it up? Yeah.
Could you go back to your role and just talk through the band or whatever the D player was, his rules after jamming?
Yeah. He's basically a crow flag guy now.
Okay.
Yep. He's going to jam the shit out of them because, again, we're lacking over there with that roll. With the projector died on me or what? There it is. So basically, the roll is basically he's going to jam number 2, and then he's going to get a curl flat, swing deep at number 3, just like he is in cover 4. Because it's the same exact thing, but he's going to be kind of working a flank a little bit. I like to shade him a little bit to the outside. So if anything, he's funneling back in because your safety's going to be, you know, worried about your safety's split the difference between 2 and 3, but with a step towards 3. Because if he runs a middle seam right here, we're going to have the free safety squeeze at number 3. We're going to have if he gets a release on the inside or whatever, he's going to be squeezing him, and then we'll do ball time for the outside guy. So because you're expecting some type of help here, but so that's up to you. The hardest part about this coverage is if, you know, right here, you can get a quick seal, and he's your D-gap defender. So this is a bitch a little bit when they run it like an outside zone here. You have to tell the linebackers to get out and go top and somehow maintain that D-gap. So, but again, you're expecting more of a pass. So you're expecting to run, just play solo and screw him down. And, so what else?
How do you roll a 3-3? Because we started playing a 3-5.
Yeah.
And then we just roll our sand down.
Yeah. Basically, if you have your attack, you have a special guy like that.
Yeah.
Because we, you know, one of our best attack guys are always, they were linebackers that are too slow. So literally, we'll take our nose, we'll take our tackle. Well, you can just take your worst guy out. Okay, so a lot of times what we'll do is it's that guy because our nose is probably the worst guy. We a lot of times play with 4 eyes, to be honest, and then we'll take that attack and put them here. And all you're doing, you can shift this too. So if I'm sorry, we're not taking them all this time. We're keeping the same personnel. So squeeze your nose down your tackle. It can play that 4-eye. Okay, 4-eye right here, and then you put him right here. So your fits are basically going to be, you know, tell him to take a gap, or you can tell him he's going to fall in the weak side gap, and he's going to be, you know, there, and then he's always, you know, you're going to be solid on your gap fits. But he's just coming right here. So a lot of times what we'll do with this is we'll put him here, but yet we're going to blitz him. So we call this Ricky Lake. You know, the old TV show, half the kids don't even know what they don't talk about anymore. So remember Ricky Lake? No, who's that? So you would just come to him and say, Ricky, Ricky, Ricky. Boom, he would go there, and he could dick around in here and then come back over here. So basically what you're doing is you can keep these guys out if you want, and now it's just turning into your 4-2-5, because it's just a Tim front with 2 eyes. But it's just giving a different look. We're sending him regardless. Even if it was, if we had no call on, and all of a sudden they were just playing a straight run read, and now all of a sudden if it's a pass, he would just go. So we keep it very simple when we go to a 3-3 stack. And then when you drop him over here, you know, you can just go get to a 3-4, just take him off over here. Your tackle kicks down, and then your end is over here. I wish I had some film on this, because literally we'll be in a 4-2-5, and before the teams went quick, and we just go move, and all of a sudden boom, he would just dart from his attack, boom, he'd go right here, and linebacker spread out a little bit, nose would shift down, and it would be pretty simple. So I don't know. We'd have a sniper. You can create a lot of blitzes with that. So, but you got to have that special guy. If you don't have that special guy, I don't do it. I don't know if that answer your question at all.
Yeah.
So, who else? Anybody else got a quick one? Okay. But I appreciate your time. I'll be sticking around here for a little bit if you want to talk. And if you guys want, come down to Stout whenever you want. We are running a 3-4, so if you got a 3-4 stuff, we got basically we're running Duluth stuff. So I'll redeem a score and talk to you about that. And I'll talk to you about 425 if you have questions with that. But all right, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.